Current New York Knicks forward Michael Beasley raised some eyebrows recently when in an interview he stated that he believes that talent-wise, he's up there with the likes of Kevin Durant and LeBron James. He said, quote, about the fact that he's, a disappointment and that he does not have the talent necessary to be a top-tier player in the NBA. He said, quote, it's mostly perception. As far as talent-wise, I match up with Kevin Durant, LeBron. I match up with the best guys in the world. He then went on to say in the interview that if you look over the past 9 years, I never played more than 24 to 25 minutes a game. Being a number 2 pick, especially in my first 3 to 4 years, that should raise a question mark. Not to toot my own horn, but not a lot of guys coming to the NBA after the kind of year I had at Kansas State. For whatever reason, I just never got a fair shake. The article went on to clarify that actually Beasley did have a couple of seasons averaging 30 minutes per game. And but anyway, he went on to say, I'm not being cocky. It's just always how I felt. But I got into trouble as soon as I got in the NBA, and it left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. Pretty sure he means management. Beasley's 28 years old. He's still a very young player. And he should be entering the prime years of his career. Now, I've seen Michael Beasley have moments. I remember some years ago he had a 48-point game. Can't remember what team he was playing with at the time. Was it the Heat? I don't think it was the Heat. It was before that. No, it was the Heat. I think it was the Heat. But I remember him having a 48-point game, and he has his moments. I have to say, and this might shock some people, I actually think there's some merit to what he's saying. If he's talking about talent-wise, yeah, I would put him a notch below those guys, talent-wise. But he's not too far off of Kevin Durant or LeBron James. Because people got to remember, those two guys came to the NBA with 18, 19 years of age, right? And these guys were both put into situations where they were the number one options immediately. And these guys got a chance to shoot the basketball a lot from the get-go. They were the man. They were put into situations where, they got accustomed to being in that position, and they also came into the NBA in a situation where they really couldn't get but much worse as far as franchises. With LeBron, I think the year before he came, 2002, 2003 season, I want to say Cleveland was something like 32-50 or something like that, and that's when you had, on those Cleveland teams, I think you had guys like Ricky Davis and Carlos Boozer and, those types of players. And, when LeBron came to the NBA, you really couldn't go anywhere but up. And he was accustomed to being in that position from day on. And LeBron was, of course, Rookie of the Year, I think, his rookie year. But, he got used to being in that position, used to playing those pressure situations, and he just grew as a player to becoming the guy that he is now, the best small forward of all time by the numbers, and a top 5 all-time basketball player. Kevin Durant came into the same situation. He instantly came with the then Seattle Supersonics, was the primary scorer. And after a couple of seasons where they were mediocre, the Seattle Supersonics, which ultimately became the Oklahoma City Thunder, became a fledgling franchise. Durant started to flourish. But the thing about it, the point is, both of them had one home. Both of them, at the time, both of them had one home. Both of them had an opportunity to grow as basketball players. But at the same time, this has to go against Michael Beasley. Both of them were more mentally mature than Beasley. And that's why I will say, talent-wise, Beasley has, an argument. But there have been players who are just as talented, if not more talented, than Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley will tell you, at the power forward position, Charles Barkley will tell you that talent-wise, Derrick Coleman was one of the greatest, was one of the most talented power forwards, that ever played. If Derrick Coleman had Charles Barkley's mentality or Karl Malone's work ethic, if he had Kevin Garnett's intensity and dedication, Derrick Coleman would have been one of the great power forwards of all time. But he was lazy. He liked to eat. And he morphed from being that outstanding rookie that we saw when he was 6'10", 230 pounds to becoming that 270-pound journeyman who had a nice jumper and developed a little, nice little three-point shot, could score in the post, but had a nice little turn. It was a shot Derrick Coleman had, a little turnaround, little jumper that he had in the post, but he never dedicated himself to basketball the way that people thought, and he was a disappointment. So that's pretty much where I think that Michael Beasley is right now. But Michael Beasley can make all of us believe in him. If he truly is matured, maybe he can have the type of season that he thinks he can have. Now, do I think that he can come into the NBA this year and average 30 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists? No. But if he can come into this season and play at a level that, would remind all of us why he was the second overall pick in 2008 draft. People got to remember he was picked ahead of Russell Westbrook. That's how highly touted Michael Beasley was. So that has to weigh on Beasley that in that draft you have a guy ahead of you, Derrick Rose, who started off his career so strong, and then injuries just kind of ruined what could have been a Hall of Fame career. And then you have a guy under you like Russell Westbrook, who is on his way to a Hall of Fame career. Maybe Michael Beasley can be the polar opposite of Derrick Rose. Maybe he can be a guy who started off his career in and out of trouble, mediocre, but showing flashes of greatness. And maybe he can turn around and have a successful second half of his career. But we'll see. But tell me what you guys think.